Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of February 12th, 2024. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And Dead or Alive, we are talking about the 2014 version of Robocop, which celebrated its 10th anniversary this week. A movie that I have not seen in 10 years, probably. I watched it when it came out in 2014 and then never rewatched it again until this week when we decided to watch it.
I probably watched it one more time before this rewatch, so 3 times I've seen this movie total.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it, and then if you go in the archives of everythingaction.com, there's a review from 2014, and then that's it. I haven't really thought about it or rewatched it since, but yeah, it had an anniversary this week, and so I rewatched it. I know you rewatched it, Chris, and we'll dive into a bunch of stuff about that movie. Also, probably like maybe compare and contrast it with like the iconic classic original Paul Verhoeven movie. But the plots are basically the same, or somewhat the same. You have a cop named Alex Murphy who is in a horrific criminal, basically murdered, and then brought back as a cyborg police officer, and then has to deal justice in Detroit.
And then the company that built him is shady as heck and has corporate dealings to change the city. That's like the core structure of like
in the
origin story.
In the original, they wanted to basically like sort of, I guess, gentrify Detroit and build Detroit like Delta City, which is gonna like basically raise all of like Detroit basically and make this like new city for like the super wealthy, and then force all the poor people out. And then
they wanted to corporate own a city. They haven't done that since like the 1930s, when oil companies would build towns and then charge the people that lived in towns, usually worked in the like some sort of mine or oil field, like to live there. So it's not like a far off future. This is actually like a past. Like corporations have done this before.
And then the 2014 version is it's all about kind of like drones and drone warfare, like robots in combat. And there's a bill, the Dreyfus Act, that is like preventing Omnicorp from deploying robots in America. And
but they're fine with it abroad, because the first 20 minutes of this movie, maybe not even 20 minutes, the first like 10 is a completely different movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of gives us our only sense, like the only kind of satire of the new one, because the 2014 version is very serious. Like it doesn't have like the Paul Verhoeven satire and comedy of the original one. So like the only satire from like 2014 version is like Samuel L. Jackson as basically a Bill O'Reilly, Tucker Carlson kind of Fox News host, like kind of like spouting off about like how we need robots in America to make, and like it's I don't think they like ever imply it, but it seems like, or like explicitly say it, but it seems like it heavily implied that he's like being paid by Omnicorp, like they're like a major sponsor of his show or something, or.
Yeah, I think it's like the new spin. Either they are owned by them, or they are huge sponsors. So it's like they have an agenda.
I wouldn't be surprised if like if like that, whatever that network is that like the Novak effect is on, that Samuel Jackson's show is like some sort of like media branch of Omnicorp.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like no other, like that happens in real life. You don't just have one company. You have like a multiple branches and interests in other groups. So that's not a parody anymore. Like that maybe would have been years ago, but now it's just like this is still like on the nail.
Yeah. And
I think we're going to discover that as we talk about this, RoboCop 2014 isn't that bad.
Oh no, I my opinion in 2014 is the same as rewatching it this week. Is it's way better than you think it would be, but not but nowhere near as good as the original one. Like it's if take all the RoboCop baggage off of it, it's like a very solid kind of fun action movie. But
Yeah,
put the Robocop
I can
stuff
see
on
that.
it, it's like it cannot can't live up to like the
The
original one.
original. But the problem is they were trying to appeal to younger people because it's a PG-13 rating.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest flaws of the new one, of the 2014 one, is just like, yeah, it doesn't have the insane Paul Verhoeven violence that we know and love from the original one.
And then no 13-year-old's going to be really interested in the politics that they like shoehorn in a few times into this movie
Yeah,
because it's like either too subtle or just like they're not aware of it or it just sort of drowns the plot out. Or you know what I mean? Like we'll talk about it more when we get to Gary Oldman's character, but
well, I also feel like it's very. Did you get the vibe that like the 2014 one is like very kind of like influenced by like the Dark Knight and like Christopher Nolan kind of style too?
oh
Because
yeah,
like RoboCop drives, he's on a motorcycle now. It's like very reminiscent of like the Bat Pod, and like it's
yep.
like
He's sleek, he's black,
black. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
he's got this like almost like a superhero costume going on for a robot outfit. Like you can't. I
Detroit
feel
is
like
Detroit is sort of Gotham esque. like,
yeah, Detroit is just Gotham already. You didn't need to make it like. I think that's why they downplayed the criminal element to just be very basic. We'll get into that because I feel like that's also another weakness of the movie is to
mhm.
show that basically RoboCop was overkill for dealing with a drug kingpin guy, arms deal. He was everything. He was just like the kingpin of Detroit.
Oh, like Antoine Vallon, like
Yep.
who
So
is
we'll get into that because
yeah.
this becomes. I've got like a question, and I still can't figure out if this was like Omnicorp's plan. But yeah, once you spill out the premise of basically an episode, like the Alex Murphy part, they show a lot of him doing his job, like a lot in this movie.
Yeah, I feel you definitely get more Murphy before RoboCop, and then also the interesting thing is kind of like it's like the reverse. It's like the reverse character arc of the original one, because the original one was like Murphy had to like rediscover his humanity and like
Mm-hmm.
overcome like because he was like fully just like a robot, and then he had like learned that like, oh, I'm Murphy again. And then this one is like he starts out as Murphy, and then they like they basically turn him into a robot because they like they like whatever they tone down his dopamine levels or whatever at some point, and then he's like just like a
He's
emotionless
compliant.
robot. Yeah.
Yeah, they basically. So okay, Gary Oldman does he puts a chip in his brain? You don't see it, right? It's supposed to be implied that he's always installed like a failsafe for the humanity part, and then he activates it.
Gary Oldman's character is super. Is like probably the most interesting characters in the 2014 movie, just because like he's so like complicated. Of like it seems like he actually is like like he is sympathetic to Murphy, but he's also like doing the bidding of Omnicorp.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like if Omnicorp can't get it, his name sinks, and it's like, oh no, all the good work you've done we've gone to ruin. They don't really mention that,
Well,
like it's just like he's helping amputees live a better life, which is
which which
still great.
which is like, and that's like it's like the Omnicorp Foundation or something. But then this is like the next step above that of like you need to like give us a product like a fully cyborg human.
Well, okay, I don't know if Gary Oldman worked for Omnicorp in the beginning. I felt like Stellar went to him and was like, "Hey, join my group
I, I
with
think I think
your."
I think there's a like when you that scene where like the guy is like playing the guitar with like the robot hands. There's on the door it says like Omnicorp Foundation or something.
Okay,
So so he works for like a charitable organization that like is funded by
it's a
Omnicorp.
branch of them. Okay,
And he said like he never wanted to join them and like make weapons, and then but then he's like, oh, but then make a cyber police officer. He's like, all right, I'll do that.
that's not a weapon at all. So, all right, see, that's the thing. It's like he is complex because he's a good man stuck in a bad situation.
Yeah, but yeah, he does put a chip in Murphy's brain, and then that when his combat visor goes down, then like Murphy has no control over his body.
It goes into auto kill mode
Yeah,
or whatever police mode.
because there's a whole thing where they're doing tests, which I forgot how much of this movie is like testing RoboCop and like develop like he's in China like training and stuff. That's like the
So,
whole first half of this
but
movie is
yeah,
like him.
it is. It is to the point where when he's loose on the street, I feel like he's been on there for 2 days, and then like all of the plot happens.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you compare it to the original, where he kind of does the same thing, but it's RoboCop's built in 3 months. They tell you that in the original one,
Yeah.
and then they show you. Actually, no. In the original, they don't tell you how long, but in this one, he's built in 3 months.
Well, they imply it's been a while because you kind of see like in the original one you see like the clips. It's like, oh, it's New Year's now, or it's like because you get like an idea of like, oh, it's been a while because it's like
Right,
now
right.
they're celebrating New Year's. Now it's like a different holiday, or and it's
But
been
in this one, I think I'm sorry, I watched both these movies back to back. I think in this one, he's built in 3 months,
something, yeah.
something like that. But they don't
Yeah,
really do
yeah.
any of the montages.
I think they explicitly say there's like a Chiron comes up. This is like 3 months later after his car bomb explosion.
Right, right. So that's what I'm saying. Like it seems really quick for what they developed
Hmm.
because like I guess like they really needed to show you a lot of training scenes. Uh, but they could have done that in the time frame. Like they could have saved a lot of plot with showing a basic one and then doing like the suit up scene because I think when we meet RoboCop, they just awaken him and he's instantly like freaked out and does that big dramatic escape scene where you find out he's in China and then his RoboCop look
Yeah.
great. I think when I saw this in theaters, and I was just like, you could end the movie here right now. Like, just show me this scene and then be like, all right, stay tuned for RoboCop Part 2 because I know what's going to happen. He's going to look like the poster RoboCop, and I'm not going to be a fan of that one. But,
And
yeah,
they like remotely shut him down because he runs in like the rice field and they just shut him down. They're almost like, all right, shut him down now.
yeah, they just let him freak out for a while. And then, yeah, so China's okay with building robots there. They don't explain why he's there being built. It's just that's the facility that they prefer to build RoboCop in.
I wonder if they just can't do anything in America because of that
That
act, the
law.
Dreyfus Act, the law, or whatever.
But the Dreyfus Act was building a robot and letting it patrol, like, or letting the robot patrol there. I don't know if the
I,
rule still counts of building it in there
I think I think it was like you can't have drones in the U.S. You can't have like these like militarized drones in the U.S.
whatsoever.
Whatsoever. Yeah.
But
So
that doesn't make
so so,
sense. And they
so
also had Ed 209s in America later on. Maybe it's later. I don't know. It seemed like it.
I guess I think at the end, like because like the third act, like it's the Dreyfus Act got repealed, so they're just like instantly deployed like Ed-209s and like whatever the like the Terminator ones are, like the what are they, EDMs or
Yeah.
something.
Wait, but okay. So did the Dreyfus Act get repealed and that's what brought back RoboCop, or did they bring RoboCop and then it got repealed?
They like RoboCop was like part of their like because that was part of their plan to get like the Dreyfus Act repealed because like, oh, he's not a robot, he's a human he's like a cyborg, he's a human brain but he's a robot, and then they're gonna deploy like multiple like RoboCops basically, and then like because he was so effective that was like swaying like public opinion.
Okay, but see, this is the problem with Sellers' plan was to get a good cop, make him a RoboCop, then just sort of not have him be human, and then that would make him more rich because now they're walking around with these half like RoboCop people or half cybernetic people, but
Well,
they didn't perfect it.
yeah.
That was
Well, there's also a thing where like Murphy like somehow like overwrites like the programming and like just like basically like wipes out everything they try to do, like he like raises his dopamine levels back up to like normal levels and like
well, okay.
turns
See,
back human.
he does that before the chip gets removed, right?
Well, there's a chip that's like transmitting to like the to like Omnicorp that they can like shut him down and stuff. So then like Gary Oldman takes that out. It's like, hey, you're free of Omnicorp now. Like they can't like stop you or do anything.
Oh, but the programming is
Except,
still in there.
except for like the red bracelets, which I think is like the replacement for the in the original one. It's like you can't arrest
The
like
directive.
OCP executives.
So that's another thing about this movie that they kind of forgot halfway through was the, oh shit, we need to add the directives again.
Oh yeah, because the bracelet they had the bracelets in the beginning where like Jackie Earle Haley's like, oh yeah, if you have a red bracelet, they're like Tehran or whatever they are, and like the Samuel Jackson's like news crews there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like if you have the red bracelet on, you're fine. They won't attack you, and then that disappears for the entire movie until the end again, and they bring it
Yes.
back.
Like that's where I was like, oh, that's where, because I was thinking about this movie, and yeah, we see the updated HUD, and you see him scan people and do the science of reading everything.
Mhm.
But then the prime directives, there's really no
He doesn't have like
yeah,
directives.
it's sort of like he's just robotic because he can't feel things and he doesn't think anything but the job. Then it comes to like, oh shit, I have one actual big directive that just don't shoot red like guys.
Yeah, which is like just like at the very end, this is like, oh, by the way, this is just like this is how we have to like nerf Murphy right now. It's like he can't shoot red people like red bracelet people.
Wouldn't the whole company be red people thing? Why would it just be
Jackie or Haley, and then Michael
Jackie
Keaton.
O'Haley and just like that would be a hey, let's just make sure
Give,
Robocop can't shoot anyone.
yeah, give it to like all those security guys they have in that building. They should just give them all red bracelets.
Give red bracelets to the ED units.
I don't know if you can put. I'm sure. Yeah, I guess you could probably put some sort of like digital or like some sort of like thing that like mimics that on a 209s. Because then because then Murphy couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and the thing would just been walking around stomping on him. So it was just bad.
Well then, maybe if they did that, then maybe you could have like had like Lewis actually have something more to do with this movie than get like shot twice. It's so hilarious. Like Michael K. Williams, all he does is he gets like shot twice.
Yeah, I forgot like he's in the movie too.
Yeah,
he literally shows up, gets shot, goes to the hospital,
and
then just does a lot of like stopping RoboCop in hallway scenes.
Yeah, that's such a like that's definitely one of the like compared to the original like where it's lacking because like Lewis in the original one, Nancy Allen is like just so like awesome and like badass and like it's also like one of the driving forces like to get Murphy to be like a human again.
Oh yeah, it's like her care helps him.
Yeah, and then Michael K was just like, hey, I'm your partner. Like, I got shot. Like, yeah,
barely. Actually, his wife, Murphy's wife, does a lot more in this one.
That's
Cornish.
That's also a big difference. Is like Murphy's like wife and son are like a big part of it. Which in the original one is just like there were these like ghosts, just like memories that you never saw. Like you never saw them in person. They were just like his like they're gone. They're never coming back. It's just like he has these like memories of them.
Yep. Which I think it's better in the sequel where they bring her back and it's like they at least address the lingering idea of what happened to her and what her feelings are.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, in one of the videos I've watched as a review, it's so weird when the wife sees Murphy after this long and she's like, "Oh, hey, it's you." Like, there's no big emotional reunion. It's just like on the Skype call they have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or Joel Kinnaman just like zooms it like all the way into his like nostril. It's just like zoom it in.
Yeah, and it's jarring because from the scene prior, which is you want to talk about the like organ scene.
Oh yeah, which the like probably one of the best scenes in the 2014 version, which is like probably as good as anything in the original one, where you get to see like because like Murphy wants to see like what he actually is now without the suit, and then Gary Oldman's like, all right, and then the show him is like he's a head, a brain, lungs, heart, and then veins going to like his one human hand, and that's it.
Yeah, they couldn't save anything else apparently.
Yeah, just super well done. It's like it's horrific. Like it's super just like jarring and like great. Just a great. That's probably one of the best things in this 2014 movie.
Yeah, it's definitely something where probably the other RoboCop is the same. They do mention that he's basically just like a head in that one.
I don't even think like Murphy like in the original one is. I think it's like the skin of his face is like stretched over like a robot face or something. I don't even think he has like a face left.
Wow, I didn't think of that. like I know basically his back of his head, it's got like that robotic thing, but I didn't realize that it's
Yeah.
basically just a robot with like a human face.
And and he has no like in the original one they supposed to say like, oh, cut his arm off because we don't need it. We're going full like cyborg or whatever. So
Yeah. So in this one, it made sense that like you saw him before, like before he got Robocop, where
Mhm.
he's like scar tissue, like 80% of his body. He's got actually I think more than that, and then he's got like no left foot, no left hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, they cybernetic him up. Um, I just feel like when he gets reactivated and he kind of figures out how to do his Robocop stuff, they like they don't get into specifics of what the training's gonna be until you see it. But I feel like the psych profile for what they, because remember it showed you a whole bunch of candidates of like what
Yeah.
could be Robocops.
Hmm.
Wouldn't it make sense to do 2 trials at once and not just one?
Put all your eggs in like the Murphy basket. Like
I'm just like, it seemed like they were doing such a good extensive search and like, all right, none of these candidates work, and then they went
that.
for Murphy, and you're like, perfect.
I will say that was like a little bit of like the satire that we're it's missing. Where like Jay Baruchel is like the like PR guy, like brings a little bit of like the like kind of like Paul Verhoeven satire, where it's just like his like focus group like when he shows like designs for like we're gonna put sirens on him for the kids. He's gonna transform into a police car, basically.
But he carries that whole humor part of the
Yeah.
company.
Mhm.
Michael Keaton is not really a funny character in this one.
Yeah, that's definitely like I feel like Michael should have went like way bigger, like just been like like
More like
let's get nuts style, like
like a wacky Zuckerberg,
yeah.
like almost like Lex Luthor, where you
Mhm.
can't tell if he's serious and if he's kidding. One of those. I would appreciate that. Just some manic CEO. But one of the things that I think is missing in the flavor of this is that OCP seems very like this Omnicorp seems very in line. Everyone who works there, straight up evil. Like they understand how inhumane they are, and they're like, let's never change. Let's not argue with each other, and let's just like get this job done. At least
Okay.
on that level.
Yeah.
The Foundation group, Gary Oldman's group, like they all have consciences and like
Mhm.
know what humanity is. But that executive group is just like straight up like they're all like on the same page.
But even still, they're like not on the level of like the original ones, where like they were like literally murdering each other to get ahead.
Mm-hmm. Well, they would merge. It was like corporate sabotage, but they still all worked in the same company.
Yeah.
And that was cool about Dick Jones. Is I guess like he's been doing this for years, trying to kill all the other people till he gets to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's willing to do like literally whatever it takes to like get his products approved and like work his way up in OCP.
Even though it's like he knew it was a piece of shit, it's just like that's what sells. In this one, it just seemed like Michael Keaton had a really good idea in the beginning. He didn't seem like he was killing any of his competitors. It didn't
No.
stop another company to make their own cybernetic thing. They just had like a good plan and a great marketing team.
He seems a little like he's a little bit Tony Starkish, where he's like kind of like a weapons. He's not really a weapons dealer, but like that kind of like he's like that, like it's like he's in like the Senate hearing, and he's like he had a little bit of like a Tony Stark vibe, where he's just like, well, I want to get my
He's
robots
cocky.
out, like yeah, get my robots out there, like.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. He's likable. That's what's like different about him. Where Dick Jones was not likable, and then maybe the other guy that like
Bob Morton.
Bob Morton. Bob Morton wasn't bad. Bob Morton was just like an eager executive.
He's just doing too much coke.
He loved coke and hookers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I get it, man. I understand that. And it's like in that time frame of the super 80s and RoboCop, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Michael Keaton has to represent how evil that company is, but he's not. Like he's got like basically a good intro. He's like, hey, like let's try to like do more security. Let's do it in the city that's like the most dangerous. Let's get this like scientist that understands like the cybernetics, and it's not like he's like do it or I'll kill your daughter kind of guy. Like he didn't have that until the end. Until the end, Michael Keaton is like a different character.
Yeah. Well, he's sort of like he's like subtly like, well, I do whatever it takes to make him like make him effective. Like,
But that kind of makes sense until when it's the let's fuck with his emotions and then threaten his family.
mhm.
That's where it goes wrong.
I think we both agree that like the one thing in this movie, like the 2014 movie, is definitely missing is like a Clarence Boddicker, because I think we alluded to it, but, like
Oh yeah.
the other villain, quote unquote, like Vallon, is just like so fucking boring, and just like
Yeah.
like a non like just like a non threat. Like he's just like,
I kind of forget he's in it.
yes.
This like other villain because
Mhm.
like the beginning you're so like into uh the robotic part that you forget the street level crime of I don't know just some dude pushing
I think
guns.
I think it was arms dealer, and he was getting like these like uh more powerful guns than you would expect from like, because he had like the two like corrupt cops on his payroll, so they were like stealing guns from like evidence for him, and they were selling those on the street. And then they're the ones that set up Murphy and Lewis when they try to like they went to like the undercover undercover sting. It went bad. But then you also find out like the chief's also in on it too, and like like basically the entire like Detroit police force except for Lewis is like corrupt and evil.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand was so what the Detroit police was corrupt.
Yeah,
They're actually the real bad guys here.
at least the chief and those two corrupt
The two
cops.
cops are the eve like already like just super corrupt. How is
Yeah,
no one?
because the chief was also corrupt, like covering for them. And she called Val and was like, "Hey, Murphy and Lewis are like there's these two undercover cops coming to meet you. Like, kill them or whatever."
So because I feel like those two undercover cops did a terrible job at like hiding the fact that they were corrupt.
Hmm.
They're like egging on Murphy. They're talking to the police chief. They're talking to the bad guys like outside his house. Like
And like a public coffee shop, they meet him like a newsstand or something, like in the middle of like the street, just like, "Hey, you want to go kill this cop? Like, here's the address."
so the yeah like I feel like that part of the movie was to shoehorn in that like that the city is like not safe from the police itself, and then
Hmm.
RoboCop can't trust like in a way RoboCop can't trust the police because they are corrupt, but they aren't owned by OCP. At least in the original, the cops are owned by OCP.
Yeah, that's definitely missing from the 2014 one. Is like yeah, Omnicorp doesn't like straight up own the police force. And there's no strike. There's no like they don't have like they're not getting like the supplies they need. They're just like a regular. There's a regular like city police force.
Yeah, and it's just like okay, so like in the original, the police were gonna go on strike because they were like getting the least amount of resources, and then a lot of the people feel like they were gonna get replaced by RoboCop.
And
But
also like Detroit is just so fucking dangerous that they're just like we don't have the supplies we need, and we're all getting like murdered on the streets by these criminals
right,
every time we
right.
go out.
But in this one, it seemed like everyone was afraid of the criminal guy, but it seemed like they were working with them.
Hmm.
Only like the three of those cops were.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have like such little time to like dwell on that, and then when the movie gets to that, and it's really quick how fast like RoboCop solves all his issues. I guess we'll talk about
Well,
him.
they upload like the entire criminal database like Matrix style into his brain, so he
Yeah,
has
he
like
has a freak out.
yeah, because he sees his own murder, and then he's just like, oh, or attempted murder, and then he's just like, I gotta solve it, or it's me, I'm getting killed. Ah, like
Which is reasonable. You can't
yeah,
watch the footage of yourself getting murdered and just
yeah.
handle that. And then they're like, "Oh, calm down." Like, wait,
Even
what? You
e-
just
even though a car bomb is horrific, it's nowhere near as horrific as the original one. Like
I guess.
Murphy getting killed in the original one is like so like just horrific and like insane. Like, and this was just like it's a car bomb. Like, yeah, we see the results. Like he burned on like 80% of his body and whatever. But it doesn't have the same impact as like Boddicker just like then like toying with him and like blowing his arm off and like blowing his head off and everything. Like,
Yeah.
which definitely it's definitely a result of like of the PG-13 rating. Even though it's PG-13, there's still some like pretty like horrific stuff, like seeing his like lungs and like just like
But that's just
like
like
a jar,
anatomy.
yeah, and like
That's
and it's like the shot of like him in like the hospital is kind of like a little bit like horrific, but I guess it's sort of like just like medical imagery or something. I don't know. There's not
yeah.
like there's
I
not
don't think because it's not gore. It's just
yeah.
like guts, and it's. I guess that's the workaround. But but it's not. Yeah, it's not as horrific as it could be.
Mhm. But yeah, he gets all the crimes, and then I like how it's like they say like it's like 60 seconds after he gets like introduced to like the public, like he arrests a guy who's like a murderer. It's like a murderer just like standing in the crowd in like the like Robocop introduction ceremony.
Yeah, I don't know why that guy went in the crowd. He's just like, I gotta see this like new cop thing. Like what?
I'm a wanted murderer, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna go see what's up downtown. Like,
Even though this guy apparently is like like a bad criminal.
mhm.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out like why he would go to this like revealing. Just watch it on the news.
Yeah. Why didn't you leave Detroit? If you killed someone, why didn't you just leave Detroit? Why are you like hanging around?
Yeah, go into hiding. Also, that guy was like in his 60s.
Yeah, yeah. When was that murder? That murder must have been like decades ago.
It's supposed to be 6 years ago in that.
Hmm. I do appreciate like there's sort of like when he goes to like he takes on like drug dealer guy, which is I feel like is like kind of an homage to like the original one where he like takes down like the Boddicker's like drug factory.
Okay, so I was going to bring that up. So in that, they really combine the drug raid slash like taking on Boddicker, but because Anton just didn't really do anything, just orders people to do things. So when they
Well,
have like this big showdown
well the
in
drug
that PG-13 fight,
Yeah, well, the drug guy is like a totally separate, like it's a
yeah,
totally separate guy, just like a random guy that like RoboCop's like, oh, I got info on this guy, I'm gonna go take him down. Like he's
yeah,
my
Boddicker just
target. Like,
happens to be there.
well, it's not even Boddicker. It's like I don't think Vallon has anything to do with that guy. Like it's just like another random criminal guy that is like making drugs. Is like RoboCop takes down. Then after like he sees his wife and then like analyzes his son and where his son's like he has massive anxiety.
Okay, no. So yeah, wait, he took down.
There's like like some like Tom King or something. It's some other random guy that is just like a like drug manufacturer that also wanted for murder. He's like the first guy like when Murphy like shows up at the police office department. He's like dopamine up. He's just like I've selected 13 targets. This is the first one. I'm going after him myself. Good
Okay,
luck,
yeah,
officers.
that's
Like,
the guy. You're right. I
yeah.
kind of forgot about that.
And then
It's
it's sort of like it's that's sort of like the homage because in the original one like Murphy goes and like takes down like a drug like manufacturing plant, and so I feel like it's sort of like the like homage to that. But then Vallon, the main actual like other villain guy, is like has nothing to do with that. He's like an arms dealer guy.
so. Why did he then get involved? Like what? See, now I'm kind of blanking. Even though I just saw this movie, Murphy
Mur-
he settles. He settles as like his kid. He's like, I had to like figure out my family's afraid.
his wife shows up and is like, "Hey, Murphy, like or Alex, you have to like you're acting like yourself," and then that plus like him kind of like looking at the surveillance footage of his son, and like his son is like, being like like having like crippling social anxiety and and depression, and like
Yeah, yeah.
that like breaks through like the dopamine like programming that
Yeah,
they
okay.
did, and then he like then now after he breaks through like the program, he's like, I'm gonna solve my own murder now. Like, 'cause that was
Yeah, but it's like he doesn't even bother to go see his son or talk to
no,
his wife. He's just like, oh, I gotta be a super cop. Like,
yeah. I
I
need
was
to
like,
deal with this before I can like move on to anything else. I have to like solve my own murder.
yeah, he got his priorities out of whack still.
I do love when he goes back to his house and he does like the Batman like detective vision.
Detective mode. Yep.
Yep. And then he like sees his son in the window and it's like severe emotional stress, like, fear.
So the okay, so that's how we get into. Then he's like, all right, I know where Anton is. I'm gonna go raid
Yeah.
his
Well,
warehouse.
he like tracks. He like gets like he gets cell phone signal. Like he can like track cell phone calls. Like one of Vallon's guys is like using like an unencrypted cell phones. And he tracks that to like their warehouse. Then they're like gearing up, and then we get like sort of it's kind of cool. Like they like all wear like thermal vision. Basically, you're like kind of like it's not night vision. It's like the white kind of like thermal vision style. But then Murphy has like his own thermal vision. Basically takes them all down without any issues.
So I feel like I remember watching that scene, getting ready, like, ooh, it's gonna be an actual action-packed scene. And then when they went to thermal, I was like, oh, they're playing it super safe. They went super. Let's have a PG-13 rating and not show you awesome action.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the that shootout was cool. Like in the end, just the beginning is just a lot of like flashes, and I don't know what was going on.
They do try to like replicate like because the original one like Robocop is able like he does like a lot of like the no look like he just like is able like either like his like computer programming is like figuring out where to shoot or like he just like is like targeting and like shooting but like so they try to like replicate like a lot with like where like Murphy's like in this movie is like doing like a lot like uh kind of like crazy gun kata stuff so like taking people guys down which
Yeah, I
is like
do. Oh, so I don't mind that he's fast. I don't
yeah.
mind that this version of him.
He's like dual wielding now. He has like a assault rifle and like a taser pistol.
His assault rifle gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see? Okay, so that's sort of a homage to the scene in the first RoboCop in the original where Murphy is dual wielding pistols while shooting out of a car.
Mm-hmm.
That happens, so at least that's accurate. But yeah, like his dual wielding method, fine, because he doesn't need a cover technically. He just run. He's like a tank, but he's very agile.
Unless you have 50 caliber or above ammo, then he's like then that can pierce his armor.
Yeah, but in this futuristic world, like I feel like that's not a problem to
the,
get.
the future of 2028. Yeah, we're 4 years away from a RoboCop.
Yep. Uh, so yeah, the warehouse scene leads to RoboCop tracking down the obvious corrupt cops, and
Mm-hmm.
he personally wants to book them. Like he doesn't even want to submit the evidence, which he could just do because when he gets in that office, it is kind of cool. It is cool that he can pretty much show the evidence as it's happening, like a live stream of it.
He got the how he like used the reflection of the glass to get the audio of them talking.
Yeah. It just, oh hey, we have you on film and stuff, and
The like acoustic vibrations of this glass like let me like figure out what you were saying in this like conversation of this like CCTV camera.
talk about AI generated imagery and sound. It made him sound like anything.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure 2014 RoboCop could like deep fake stuff. Just be like, that's you, right? That's your voice.
That's you holding the gun and his bag
Yeah,
of drugs.
that's like the ultimate like leave a gun on like the crime scene. Like that's like you just like make up whatever evidence he wants.
Just deep fake it.
Yeah.
The yeah, the police chief, when they solve all that, it just sort of disappears for the rest of the movie. It's because then the next act is so ramped up that you forget about the police chief.
Yeah, they shut him down because and it's weird, but then it's like they shut him down because it's like, oh, people get nervous when like they start going after like politicians that were like trying like convinced to like repeal this act, and then they're like, oh no, it's better than a hero, a dead hero. We'll make him a martyr now. Like,
So does this mean that did OCP fund the police station to then fund the criminal empire? Is that what Michael Keaton was worried about? Because that's where I was confused.
I don't I don't think like they were like I don't think like Omnicorp was like paying the like police chief or anything. I don't think that they were involved in the police at all. I think they're just like, oh, if he's like if we can't control Robocop, like investing in like corrupt like police chiefs, like what's to stop him like going after like politicians that are in our pocket or like us or like I
I
think
think jurisdiction, like he's not a government like investigator. Like he's
I
not.
think I think the main thing was like they basically lost control of him because he was like going off his programming and like he wasn't like doped up anymore. So it's like, oh, he's not gonna stop now. Like he's just like he could like
Oh, he's
come
gonna be
after
like
us or yeah.
justice. He's
And also like and then like Clara, like his wife, was like on the news like yelling at people like they're not letting me see my husband. Like
I feel like if they just let him see and just do the minimum, it would have
yeah.
been fine. Just
Mhm.
don't drug him up. Let him see his wife and kids. Don't don't try to like kill him because he's gonna be pissed from that. I get shutting him down, right? I
I,
get
I,
because they didn't
I think
want
also
him.
I think also too like the Dreyfus Act passed, so then they could like or like, it got repealed,
He got
so
repealed.
then they could just deploy like Ed 209s and EDM 209s whatever the Terminator ones are. They could just deploy those now and then
Yeah,
not worry about
so that plays
RoboCops.
no role in this movie after their like their training montage. Or
Hmm.
the shootout scene, the simulation shootout, which I didn't mind the simulation shootout scene.
That's pretty cool, and I like that. Like the choice of music, and like
Mm-hmm.
Jack O'Haley likes music when he like trains, and like Jack O'Haley is such like a fun asshole in this movie. Like he's the closest thing to like a Boddicker that we have.
But he's not like he just loves his job. Like
Yeah,
it's not
this
like he's done anything wrong up to that point.
I feel like this is also like this is like a weird like Jack O'Haley was like in like every movie around this time. Like
Well, yeah, this is like after Watchmen, after he was Freddy. So it's
yeah, it
sort
was
of
like
like, what do you do with him now?
yeah, he was in like Lincoln, yeah, and then like Lynn has fallen after this Dark Tower. Like
He was in Dark Tower.
apparently, yeah.
I've not seen all of that movie, but uh, yeah, like OCP, they could have just thrown money at this or made like a counter robot or something, but they didn't have to then try to kill everyone as a cover up. That was a strange choice by Michael Keaton.
Well, they were just they were gonna shut down Murphy and like not turn him back on, and then basically tell Clara like, "Oh, your husband's dead," and
But they
then
also wanted to stop Gary Oldman because they brought like a security force to his lab, which is not in China anymore. It's somewhere in
yeah,
America.
yeah, to make I guess to make sure that like RoboCop like Murphy got shut down permanently or something. But then Gary Oldman had I don't think they expect because Gary Oldman like shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'll go along with this if you give me like full funding and you give like the Murphys like a bazillion dollars." Like
They just take care of them.
yeah, and then like Mikey was like, "All right, yeah, cool." But then Gary was like, "All right," and then I'm actually like betraying you and like helping Alex like escape.
See that's all I was conflicted about because that's the like surprise Gary Oldman's actually like a real good guy regardless.
Hmm. He finally did the right thing after like playing with Murphy's brain and like I mean that's what I'm saying. Like Gary Oldman's like, so interesting because it's like he like saved Murphy's life, but then like played with his brain and turned him into like a robot, and then like turned off his emotions, but then like helped him escape. So it's just like all of his it's just like, his actions are just like so conflicting with each other.
Yeah, the he is like a lot of people agree that he was the best part of the movie
Yeah.
because he does a lot as the scientist.
Hmm.
Because in the original one, that scientist crew builds RoboCop and then just leaves the movie.
Yeah, there's no like main scientist person in the new game like Rogue City. There's like a psychiatrist that comes in. There's like you actually have like psychology sessions with the psychiatrist as a
Yeah,
Robocop.
therapy.
Yeah, so that's like I guess it's like the closest thing in like the like original universe.
All right. Well, that I mean, the fact that this movie tries so hard to make Gary Oldman carry a lot of the like humanity, the soul, like explaining things, and he
Mhm.
is that of this movie.
Yeah,
Because like I guess he realizes like, okay, they're not gonna stop you. Was he expecting RoboCop to go after Sellers like that? Because he like wakes RoboCop up from his sleep, tells RoboCop, "Hey, they're here to kill us."
yeah. I think he just wasn't on board with like, oh, you're just gonna murder this like police officer now because he's not doing what you want him to do. And so that was like finally his moral compass finally was like fully on like I'm totally against Omnicorp or whatever they're doing. And then and then the whole finale is like where like Michael Keaton like basically takes like Murphy's like wife and son hostage.
Well, okay, so Michael Keaton knows he has to get out of Detroit because
Yeah.
there is a Dark Knight driving down the streets of Detroit
Yep.
coming after him. Uh, and so there is a cool scene where you see RoboCop fight other robots, and that I didn't hate it. It starts
Yeah,
funny when he shoots the
it's
guy, and then goes, "All right,
it,
like I don't want to kill another humans. Like let me fight these robots that are behind you guys."
I do I do love that like he shows up and like all the Omnicorp security guys are like stop, and he tases the one guy and he's like, you guys want to do this? And they're like, actually no, not really. I'll just leave.
Yeah,
But then he has to fight the Anto-9s, which was there's like three of them. And then yeah, that's a cool scene where like he like analyzes like how he can like launch the motorcycle into the building, and like and then he's like standing under one of them so they can't shoot him, and then he's like the other Anto-9s like shooting that one and like destroying themselves and stuff. It's a little too CGI. Like when like Robocop's like on top of it, it's clearly like that's all just CGI. But it's a pretty cool scene.
yeah. That like to see a very mobile, very uh realistic depiction of a cybernetic man
Hmm.
is cool. Definitely takes you out of the sound effects of the original, where RoboCop could not even jump. The
No,
original RoboCop, he can't jump and he can't
he's
crouch.
he's just yeah. Robocop is just a tank in the original, where he's just like slowly walks in and just like doesn't stop, but he can just like shoot every direction, take everyone out. You in the game you can run, so that's you get a little bit of that. If you play Rogue City in the game, like you can run as Robocop
Oh, you can
or
run in
sprint.
that.
You can there's a sprint button, yeah, so you can sprint a little bit. Still can't jump or duck or take cover or anything, but you can sprint and dash.
So yeah, after that big battle where they recreate battle damage RoboCop,
Hmm.
which I didn't mind. Like you see
I
him
do.
with one
I,
arm, and
yeah, it's kind of an awesome thing where like he decides like his arm's trapped under an N209, so he just shoots it off because that's his robot arm.
yeah. So did you remember that what they wanted out of this movie to show that in his right arm was his human hand to shoot his real gun, like to shoot a gun, and his
Yeah.
left hand is to shoot the taser. And then
Hmm.
it's like that's like the one connection to his humanity is like the human choice is the kill what like side.
Hmm.
There was a big thing about it. They were like, oh, at the time, I remember reading that, going, oh, why does he have like one human hand left? He doesn't need the human hand. I don't know,
No.
like it's cool that you see it. It's cool that it's what he gets to keep his
It seems
one
like
humane side.
it seems like a liability where it's just like he could like get shot in his human hand still and be like, oh, my human hand got shot. Like,
Yeah. I don't know why that was a style choice. I guess it's supposed to be symbolic, but not in this tactical combat. Also, I did like how Lewis didn't end up getting shot at that moment when he jumps in front of the ED units.
yeah.
I thought he was going to get like at least one shot and then do something, but then the movie goes, oh, let's put it like, we're not done yet.
Jack O'Haley's here. We gotta use him somehow.
Yeah, it was him and like some random guy, and that's another thing about the first movie does a lot better is showing the like henchmen's fun side or more of their
Oh,
personalities.
yeah. Every character, every side character original has like they're so distinctive and you know exactly what they're like. They show up. They're like, oh, it's Emil, or it's like all the other guys. Like,
Yeah, this one I'm like, I don't know, just guys.
just there's like a ton of just like random like OCP like Omnicorp like guard guys just like hanging around. Like I guess they're like Jack O'Haley, like Maddox's like or his crew, or whatever, his like mercenary crew, or like his security crew.
Which we don't get any of their names. We're just like they're just there.
And what is Jack O'Haley? He's like I don't. Does he works for Omnicorp? He's like because it seems like he's like a military, like he's in the army, but then like he works for Omnicorp. It's
So
it's like they're like robotics
he
expert
has
combat.
a passing line in the middle or somewhere where he mentions that he's been in a lot of like conflicts.
Like yeah, like Colombia, like he's been like other countries, and he's in Tehran at the beginning of the movie, which seemed part of like the like U.S. military. That and then Omnicorp was like supplying like the the drones for this military operation.
Yeah, but I think that it's to show that he only does it when he's like protected. He's not like a soldier. He's only like cocky when he think he has like an advantage like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like his big thing. It's sort of clever because he's never alone in these fights. Like it's never like a one-on-one.
Yeah, he always has like his like army of like drones with him or something.
Or like a backup guy, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's to show that he basically isn't like as tough as he says. But I mean, for a guy that just like stood up to a Robocop, not bad. He's giving this Robocop shit, like
it's like they call him Tin Man, like not acknowledging he's a human. Like,
he's actively pissing off Robocop. So if he ever goes rogue, he's gonna be the guy to go after.
mm-hmm. But yeah, Lewis comes like they basically like he and Lewis like shoot each other basically, and then they're like then he's like Jack is dead, and then like Lewis is like down, and then like then it goes to, like the like helipad for the final confrontation, where Mike Keaton's like, oh, the human side of your husband's dead, but the robot side is like rampaging, like
So that was kind of a clever thing. Michael Keaton tells Claire Murphy that, oh, your husband is like that's not your husband. It's just like it's just like a robot that's gone mad.
yeah.
And she believes him for like only a moment. There's no convincing. Like when she goes like, Alex, stop. He goes, no, like stay out of this. And she's like, okay, like
Oh, it's you. Okay.
yeah, that's it. There's no phrase, no nickname, something to give her like a clue that what's in front of her. This battle damaged robot isn't a crazy like robot. It's Alex. There's no some sort of like signal. I thought that was gonna happen. I thought he was gonna like give her like a gesture or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Just get out the way. All right, I tried. But then Michael Keaton has like the evil moment that makes no sense.
Where he just goes full supervillain. Is like, I could kill your family if I wanted. I don't care. Like,
I am Detroit.
I have a gun. Like,
Yeah,
and he's got the bracelet. And then like, it's sort of it's really vague. It's like Murphy is like just like sheer force of will. He can like get his gun up just enough to like just shoot Michael Keaton.
Well, I mean, even if you get like a lucky shot, because you know what they didn't do was the ricochet shots.
Yeah, that was missing, and there should have been something similar to like the original where it's like, oh, you're fired, and then that's the loophole where it's like, oh, you could like just waste Dick Jones now.
Yeah,
There should have,
somehow I thought that was gonna happen. Someone's gonna be like, "Hey, Sellars, you've been fired from your company," and just like, "Well, you're not an employee now, and that directive doesn't apply."
yeah, or he loses his bracelet, or his bracelet like malfunctions or something somehow, and then it's like the programming stops. But yeah,
Or or something insane. The son does something. The son tackles Sellers, rips the bracelet off. The son,
yeah.
like
One
the
Claire,
son.
Claire or the son realized like, oh, the bracelet's like stopping. He's got that like red bracelet on. Like maybe that's like causing something to happen, and they rip it off or something.
Yeah, see, there could have been a moment. There could have been.
Instead of just a weird like because like he couldn't do anything against Jackie O'Haley, but then like now he can because it's just like he's like trying harder this time to like get his gun up.
Yeah, the Jack O'Haley thing was such a like. I get it. He had help, and then this time he realized you could just do it. Like
Hmm.
shoot before you collapse, and that's how he'll do it.
Yeah.
That's the secret technique. Maybe that's why his right hand's human. It's just like that's the unprogrammable part.
Hmm. Also feel like there's like no. I mean, we get some kind of like wrap up of like what happened afterwards. But, like I feel like there's like not enough of like what what are the ramifications of a Detroit police officer killing like the CEO of this like multinational company on the
Yeah,
roof.
yeah. So that, like I said, like the cop part, the CEO, Omnicorp's internal investigation. But I guess because it's the Novak show, which is run by them, they don't
It's
tell
just
you that.
it's a Samuel Jackson propaganda, just like you, which I do love like that last Novak effect show is like full Samuel Jackson. We're just like you motherfuckers should have repealed. Why'd you repeal that bill? Like, god damn it! Like,
You don't know you didn't want this.
president's a pussy. Like,
Yeah, yeah. The
I also feel it's weird. Like, so there's Omnicorp, but then their parent company is OCP. So there's another company above Omnicorp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't understand why didn't OCP step in and say like, oh, to save company face, it was like that division was sinking. Let's do something, which then is the loophole.
It's weird. But it's weird that Michael Keaton had like so he answered to like another company. Like he answered like OCP.
Apparently, that's sort of at the end. You find that out at the end that there's
Yeah,
another layer.
which obviously it's just like a Easter egg for like original Robocop, but it just makes everything way more complicated. Like, oh, wait, so like Omnicorp isn't like the like all powerful group. It's like there's like an OCP is the all powerful group.
But they,
Is there an old man? Is there like a version of the old man like hanging around like at OCP?
is Ronnie Cox still alive? Because Ronnie
Uh
Cox is, yeah, he's still alive and kicking.
man, oh man, that would have been so good
That would have been amazing.
if like yeah if he was like if he was like he's the old man now
Yeah,
like
I would have loved a cameo at the end where you find out that he's the one that like Dick Jones. Oh, he basically got
there's like
Michael Keaton, Dick Jones.
yeah he's like a press conference like the parent company's the parent company OCP is taking over all of Omnicorp's uh like uh projects now like
Yeah, and like Peter Sellers out of the company, and that allows RoboCop to shoot him.
hmm
But the the movie's tight. It has a lot of fluff in the between and the whole morality thing, but it's not like RoboCop does anything else in the plot, right? Like it's pretty straightforward.
hmm
So it has that. Like I remember this thinking it wasn't that bad, and it just doesn't live up to the original. It's really hard to live up to the original when you have a modern version and then you insert kind of like too many ideas that clash.
Well,
Because I was interested. Yeah.
they definitely tried to like try to like insert like modern kind of like commentary with like drones, because that was like obviously a hot topic with like the second Gulf War was going on, and we were like everyone was talking about, oh, we're doing all these drone strikes against Iraq and stuff, and
Yeah, I get that. The thing is, the beginning of the movie was, to me, way more compelling. Like, what happens when you send RoboCop abroad, and then you have other countries testing out their robotic rules abroad,
hmm
and it's not about Detroit. But
or like using drones on like American soil.
and it's like a rival to OCP or something, or like another company or a rogue division, and RoboCop doesn't know where he falls between. Is he, he's government property, he's corporate property, he's state property, and then himself, he's no longer like identify what he is, like his individuality. He gains his individuality back in that one moment where he's like, well, I'm gonna go do my own crime solving in this movie, right? And then after that, it's him fighting to stay alive and protect his family. But in the end, we think it's supposed to be like he goes back to work like as usual, right? It just okay. Well, I'm going. He basically continues to be the officer he wants to be, but under OCP's supervision. Because Gary Oldman is still working there. They're still working for the cops. They're still working for uh, the police company, I guess.
hmm Yeah, he hits his like original gray, the silver gray color scheme back, and now he's gonna be a cop for Detroit still. He and Lewis are gonna be like, I guess, clean up the streets in the
Do we
sequel.
see
That
Lewis again?
I mean he got shot in like the bulletproof vest. I'm assuming he's fine. Like I'm assuming like he and Murphy will be just out there to like clean up the streets. I think that they were planning a sequel, but then they canceled it.
Which I feel like the sequel would have been fine with me because they basically had to just tell the origins and get over that hump and then just
I don't.
delve
Yeah,
into more things.
what would they do with the sequel to this one? Because they kind of they wrap things up pretty like officially in this one. Like, but they they do like the original one, like throw a RoboCop 2 with like an evil RoboCop or something there in the sequel. This one, like,
I think the I would love to see another company attempt at making a RoboCop, not just OCP, another company completely, and then it's a battle of who do you cheer on, like which company is the worst.
hmm
I don't know. You basically need a robot to go rogue.
yeah, like some other company makes one. At first, it seems like it's way more efficient than RoboCop, but then it starts like overstepping its bounds and like going evil, and then OG RoboCop has to step in and like stop it.
Yeah, and then or just like you have a not an like you have a government level like RoboCop that oversteps its boundaries or like its definition of justice is more messed up. So I could see that. I could see another version of RoboCop, but you could do that with basically any RoboCop movie, like any version.
hmm
But it's really hard to leave the original because even the video game went back to basics and it did well. Like it just this is what people want. Don't mess with like people love. And I think what you're a fan of the video game, right?
Oh, the game's great. Yeah, I mean, it's a little rough on the edges as far as like like some of the character models and like the voice acting, but like the actual like gameplay and story is actually fantastic. If you're a old school like OG RoboCop fan, like definitely check out the game Rogue City.
And I'm surprised this never got a video game tie-in.
Yeah, not really any time. Like I don't think there was like there was like a mobile game I think came out that's like as which was a style at the time. It's just like I don't know, like a mobile game, like you tap stuff, like, and there's some toys and stuff. Yeah, it didn't really get. Yeah, there wasn't like a. It didn't seem like there was like a huge like
Marketing
marketing.
push.
There
Yeah.
was like a fast food meal or like like
But there were some toys, but I've not really seen them. And then, yeah, I'm looking on the
like
Wikipedia.
like
Did you know that they made RoboCop Day?
for when it came out on like Blu-ray and like yeah like and it was like a guy and like it was like a guy in like the like new RoboCop suit like went around and like threw the first pitch of like the Detroit Tigers game and stuff.
I mean, I think RoboCop 2 or 3 they had RoboCop show up at WrestleMania.
I think it was WCW because he went to like the steel cage and like he was like helping Sting.
Yeah, he bent the bars.
Yeah, and then like helps Sting escape the steel bar or something. Yeah, definitely no WWE or tie-ins when 2014 RoboCop came out. Oh, one other thing too. Like so, I appreciate that they bring back the like the OG like RoboCop score or the theme song, but did you feel like it had like a very like dubsteppy kind of like vibe to it?
A little more house. A little
Yeah,
more.
like
Yeah, it feels unearned a little bit.
when you hear it, because you hear it the first time you hear it is like after like that first like Samuel Jackson Novak effect segment, and then when the title comes up, it's like it's the theme, but then it has like a little bit more like bass and like a little bit more thumping like like EDM like to it. It's just like ugh, dubstep RoboCop. I don't know. I don't know. I think it was the same composer that did the so like Jose Padilla, who's like director of this movie. He did like the Elite Squad movies, which I I've never seen them. I've heard they're good. Have you seen any of those, Chris? Like the Elite Squad,
No,
they're like I think they're like Argentinian like like action movies. I feel or like Brazilian. I feel like they came out like it was around like this when like the raid came out, like the first the raid. It was like oh, it's like Elite Squad, like the raid, like these like international action movies, kind of like was like all in the same time frame. But yeah, basically, he basically got RoboCop because he made like those Elite Squad movies, which was about like this like like I think it was like a Brazilian like police like force it like raids like this like drug kingpins like uh compound or something. But it's the same composer that composed like the music for those movies. Did the score for this one.
I see. Well, the like certain like the small details of the movie are fine. I think like the music was decent choice. Some of the mixing was could have been better for like you said the score, but I mean the action was good. It's held back by it being PG-13.
Yes, that's definitely one of the major negatives. Uh, it definitely like be more over the top, like have like like unleash Michael Keaton, like because he seems a little bit bored in this movie, like he's doing like he's trying a little bit, but like you definitely know like he could have went like way more extreme, like he could have been like off the hinges like crazy and crazy and evil, and then yeah, just and then yeah, just like it's way more. It takes itself way more seriously than the first one. It doesn't have like there's no commercials for like Nukem or like the SUX 6000 or any of that. Because we're not because like I feel like the original RoboCop is like in this like it's this dystopian future where there's all these like weird products and like weird like I can't remember, was it RoboCop or like where it's like there's like an earthquake. Oh no, that was a that was Double Dragon, where it's like the earthquake. Like it's like there's
Oh,
like
the ozone thing, and
I was yeah,
that was Double Dragon.
which like basically just like rips off RoboCop in like every aspect. But yeah, 2014 one is like it's like it's kind of like it's like slightly the future of our world, and it's very grounded in our world. And then there's not like crazy products. Like there are like crazy, like the cell phones are like all transparent. That's like the most like futuristic thing. It's like, oh, everyone's got cell phones, but they're like see through now. Like Murphy's son has like a tablet, but it's like a see through tablet.
That sort of makes sense as a future thing, but I think future like transparency phones look terrible because if you're on something private, someone could just stare at you and just like reverse image in their mind what you're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know if there's still like if that's still like the like an
The
indicator of the
trend.
future, but like definitely around like 2014, like that was like a lot of like if something was said in the future, like it was like, oh, it's an iPhone, but it's a see-through iPhone. Like
Yeah, I don't like that trend. It just to me just seems like no privacy. Someone sends you a picture or text, and someone looks at it, goes like, "Wow, what's that?" You know, like you could just see through it.
yeah, I feel like the new thing is like it's either like VR now or it's like like post Black Mirror. It's like, oh, you have like an ocular implant that like you have now. Like
Well, that's happening. I know
yeah,
Elon Musk is trying to do that for like an implant in people's heads,
yeah,
which is I don't think that's a good idea.
no, especially Elon Musk is doing it. So, but yeah, I think they'll probably wrap it up for RoboCop 2014. It's definitely, if you've never seen it, I mean, if you listen this far, you've never seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's not,
We probably lost a lot, but you definitely need to see these movies we're talking about.
and it's like it's interesting because like so like 2 years before this, like the Total Recall remake came out. That's a fucking terrible movie.
That
Like
is that is hard to
that's
recommend.
that's the bad version of like what RoboCop could have been. Like that's like what like because it's these two Paul Verhoeven movies that got remade. Total Recall is terrible. RoboCop is actually pretty good. Not nowhere near as good as the original, but like it's still like a fun, solid action movie.
If this came out without an original RoboCop movie, you think this would have been a fun idea?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
It'd probably be
or
called something else, but
or yeah, if it didn't have like the like RoboCop title on it, if it came with like slightly different like IP or something, like, call it something different.
like
And
okay,
it was RoboCop, yeah,
if you told me another country made their own RoboCop like movie,
like Japan or
this
China or something,
yeah,
yeah.
or like Poland, you know, like
Hmm.
if you set this movie in Russia or Poland, and it's like this is their version of it because now because movies are more accessible, like you see more international releases of movies that
Hmm.
are slightly close to Hollywood movies. This is like that where you know what the inspiration is, but you know like it's not the same. If you go in that same mindset of this RoboCop, it's a slightly better movie experience. But if you compare it to the original, saying that this is stands at the same level, it's not.
Oh no,
This
not.
is this is still more enjoyable than RoboCop 3, though.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
But it's not like my favorite RoboCop. Nor is it a RoboCop that's going to be like remembered well because it's just like we're the few defenders of it. Everyone else pretty much either secretly agrees it's good but just won't say it, or you know publicly like this movie is not great. But
Yeah, it's
it didn't bomb. I think Total
oh no,
Recall bombed horribly.
no, yeah, it made a ton. Like I think it cost like 100 million, 130 million, but it made like 250 million worldwide. So it made money. Yeah.
I mean, it got me in the theater, and I was like, "Ah, it's okay." I remember seeing it in theater, and just like maybe we talked about it, and then just saying, "Yeah, it was a movie."
Mhm.
It didn't blow me away. It didn't reinvent the story, but it definitely didn't like suck terribly.
No, yeah. I mean, the big thing, like you said, it's like it's not as bad. Like I think everyone going in was like, "Oh, this is gonna be terrible," and it's not terrible. I feel like a similar thing like with like the Child's Play, like the Child's Play remake, where it's like everyone going in was like, "This is gonna be fucking terrible." It's like, oh, actually, it was okay. It was actually pretty good. Not as good as the original one, but like it's pretty good.
Because some of the plot is comparable. Like it's
Yeah.
competent. It's comparable to what it's supposed to be trying to do. The only thing I couldn't figure out for me personally, maybe because I just wasn't paying attention, was that did OCP fund the police, and that's what they're afraid of. Because in my head, that's what makes sense for Sellers' character to freak out. But in the original one, OCP was purposely fucking up like the good cops into bad neighborhoods and seeing which cop would die so that they can recruit. That was
because they just wanted to like replace them all with either Robocops or Ed 209s, and then like have
right.
Delta City and like basically have like OCP City, like OCPville, like.
Yeah, so their plan made sense. This one, I think, like Michael Keaton's character halfway through the movie realizes that he can just buy the city if like he has
Probably.
his soldiers, I guess, or he wants to build a city. He doesn't really get into that much detail what his like ultimate plan was.
He just wanted to sell the United States like every police department like robots.
He's a man just trying to sell robots.
Mm-hmm.
But any last thoughts?
No, I mean it's on Max if you want to check it out. I think actually all the RoboCop movies are on Max, so like Max is your source for all things RoboCop. And yeah, we'll be back next week. I think we're going to talk about Darkman because it's getting a new for the first time ever. It's on 4K next week, so we'll dive into the Sam Raimi classic Darkman. Talk about all things Liam Neeson and pink elephants and all the other craziness of that movie. And yeah, head over to the site. We got all of our usual stuff there. We got our news, reviews, trailers. We've got our recent Gamebox 2.0 from last month. You can check out what games we played last month. We got a new one coming up this month in a couple weeks, or for all the games we played this month. We've got our commentary for this month going up next week. Hidden Strike. We watched the Jackie Chan, John Cena team up from last year. That'll be up next week on the site. So you can check that out. And yeah, all of our usual features and news are up there as well. However, check all that stuff out. And for Chris, I'm Zach, and we will see you next week.
For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.